Welcome to the CACFP Policy and Procedure Manual, Chapter 8, Vended Meals. Training presented by the Oregon Department of Education Child Nutrition Programs. This presentation is a continuation of Chapter 8, Procurement, with a focus on vended meals and food service management companies. Some of the learning objectives for this presentation include: understand the options for vended meal services in the CACFP, know the procurement requirements for the different agreement types for vended meals, be familiar with the responsibilities of a CACFP sponsor who utilize vended meal or food service management company services. Sponsors may contract with vendors to purchase meals and snacks. The decision to purchase meals from a vendor will depend on a variety of factors, including each facility's availability of food service equipment, space, personnel, and budget. Meals may be purchased either in bulk or as pre-plated individual meals. The contract may be for food preparation only or for preparation and delivery. Either way, sponsors must use ODE's standard contract. There are three types of agreements that can be used to receive vended meal services. Each agreement has its specific use and times when it is allowable to use one over the other. First, intergovernmental agreements are only allowed between a CACFP sponsor and a school food authority, and the agreement may be awarded by direct negotiation without competition. Second, vended meal agreements are used when a CACFP sponsor is receiving meals from another CACFP sponsor, a private nonprofit organization, or a commercial entity. CACFP sponsors must properly procure vended meals in accordance with the appropriate procurement method based on the contract value for the program period. Lastly, food service management companies. The food service management company provides services such as serving, producing, and supplying prepared foods. Sponsors are required to use the state agency's standard fixed price per meal request for proposal format to procure a food service management company. This is a table that highlights the three types of agreements for vended meal services. The table includes what vendor is used for each and also what services can be received as a result of the agreements. The table also includes, on the right, the different procurement requirements for each agreement. Knowledge check. When contracting for vended meal services, a CACFP sponsor must use ODE's standard contract forms. True or false? The answer is true. When contracting for vended meal services, a CACFP sponsor must use ODE's standard contract forms. The CACFP program regulations require ODE-CNP, as the state agency, to provide sponsors with standard contract forms for use when contracting to receive vended meal services. The CACFP sponsor receiving vended meals is required to use ODE-CNP's standard contract forms. All of the competitive procurement requirements in the CACFP program apply to the purchase of vended meals. The procurement method required is determined by the contract value. There is an exception that allows CACFP sponsors to enter into a contract for vended meals from a school food authority without competitively procuring the agreement. Lastly, signing a vended meal agreement with a vendor does not relieve the sponsor of its CACFP responsibilities of managing, monitoring, filing reimbursement claims, and record keeping, including compliance with meal patterns, portion sizes, and maintaining the quality of the food service. Knowledge check. Before contracting with the school food authority for vended meals, a competitive procurement process must be conducted. True or false? The answer is false. A school food authority does not meet the definition of a food service management company in the CACFP, and thus the procurement requirements for food service management company services do not apply. A food service management company provides services for sponsors such as serving, producing, and supplying prepared foods. A sponsor which contracts with a food service management company must maintain responsible for ensuring that the food service operation conforms to its agreement with the state agency. All procurements of meals from food service management companies must adhere to the procurement standards set forth in the CACFP regulations. Sponsors are required to use the state agency's standard fixed price per meal request for proposal format to procure a food service management company. If sponsors or food service management companies wish to add provisions to the ODE standard contract forms, they must first gain ODE approval. There are additional food service management company requirements that apply to CACFP sponsors who are also school food authorities. The CACFP sponsor is responsible for making sure all purchased meals and snacks are reimbursable. A sponsor staff person who is knowledgeable of the CACFP meal pattern, menu documentation, and portion size requirements must review and approve menus submitted by the vendor or contractor for compliance with program requirements. The CACFP sponsor is responsible for obtaining all required menu documentation from the vendor or contractor to support reimbursable meals prior to receiving and serving vended meals. When planned meals do not meet all program requirements, the sponsor staff person should consult with the vendor to modify the menu. Daily vendor receipts are necessary to document that food delivered from the vendor is consistent with the provisions of the contract for vended meals. CACFP regulations specify that payment cannot be made for meals that do not meet the meal pattern requirements or for food that is spoiled or unwholesome at time of delivery. Daily vendor receipts provide documentation for this requirement. Daily vendor receipts must include date of delivery, list all food delivered in item count, weight, or volume amount, provide instructions for portion sizes and serving details, document accurate food delivery time and temperatures, be signed and dated on delivery by the vendor representative and sponsor representative, and verify consistency with provisions of the contract if applicable. Sponsors may use ODE CNP's daily vendor receipt or develop their own form. The sponsor must maintain all daily vendor receipts with other CACFP records. Trained sponsor staff should receive the food to verify the information on the daily vendor receipt is accurate, determine if substitutions have been made and are acceptable, and to document and report any problems. Sponsor officials must routinely monitor meals provided by the vendors. Multi-site sponsors must do this as part of their required site monitoring visits. Single-site sponsors should document regular monitoring of vended meals. ODE CNP recommends developing a checklist to be used by sponsors when receiving vended meal deliveries. The vendor or contractor must agree to maintain all records that are necessary to meet CACFP record-keeping requirements. Records must be made available to ODE CNP during administrative reviews or upon request. To demonstrate the CACFP meal pattern requirements are being met, the vendor or contractor must provide daily vendor receipts, provide menus on a monthly, weekly, or daily basis, provide recipes, CN label documentation, standards of identity labels, and PFS to the sponsor, and demonstrate that the state and local health and sanitation requirements are met at their food production facilities at all times. The sponsor may take action against the vendor or contractor for meals that do not meet CACFP meal pattern requirements, are spoiled or unwholesome, or otherwise do not meet the terms and conditions of the vended meal agreement. Knowledge check. It is the CACFP sponsor's responsibility to ensure that the food service operation conforms to the CACFP program regulations and the state agency agreement. True or false? The answer is true. It is always the CACFP sponsor's responsibility to ensure that the food service operation conforms to CACFP program regulations and the state agency agreement. During this presentation, we covered the three options for vended meal services in the CACFP. The responsibilities of a CACFP sponsor who utilizes vended meal or food service management company services, and the procurement requirements for the different agreement types for vended meals. Lastly, a reminder that no agreement with the vendor will relinquish the sponsor's responsibility of ensuring that the food service operation conforms to its agreement with the state agency. The Oregon Department of Education supports equity and excellence for every learner. This institution is an equal opportunity provider. Thank you for attending this training.